Um, okay. So thank you everyone for being here today. So there are three aspects of a volunteer moderator role that I want to highlight today is that we all know that we have an annual theme, typically every year. And then it's our responsibility as moderators to secure funders, to sit on the panel. It could be one funder, it could be multiple funders, as well as subject matter experts to partner along with us to present on the topic that we select. We have an event form, only one event form that we complete, and we need to submit that to Forefront 30 days prior to our session. And then here is the link that we can use for every single Fight Club session. We're going to move on to the event form. So there are three specific areas. We're going to open up this event form and walk through it. But there's an area in the event form for session and presenters. We need their email addresses, their headshots, if it's different from the picture that they have on LinkedIn. And then we only need their LinkedIn profile. We don't need bios or resumes. You can let Forefront know whether you want the session recorded or not. It's a best practice to ask the presenters for their preference. Some presenters, for various reasons, do not want the session recorded. Usually it's because of the company that they work for, that they don't want the session recorded. Then we have the option with Zoom to have our sessions either in the meeting format or the webinar format. So I'm going to go to the event form and open this up, and then we'll walk through it, and then we'll talk about the webinar and meeting format. So let me see here. Are you all able to see the event submission form, or are you seeing the PowerPoint? You seeing the PowerPoint? Okay.
I see the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to close the presentation and then reopen the form.
Okay. No problem. Give me 1 second to do that. Okay. And here we go. Okay. Thank you all. Patience. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So.
All right. Okay. Thanks everyone for being here again. We've recently got some great news. We recently updated our event form that is now more inclusive of the details that is required to best support your event. So again, this is the only form you will need to submit 30 days prior to your session. So in the past, I know we had requested that you submit the speaker's form. Please burn that as soon as possible. I don't need that because it's redundant. The form does provide an opportunity for you to add the speakers to the list. So Jennifer, you can scroll down for me a little bit. So we have the, just go back up a little bit, just a little bit. So one of the things I want to cover is the event start time. One of the things we have not discussed in the past, and I just want to make mention that you are not obligated to host a 90-minute meeting. We've hosted meetings in the past that was less than 90 minutes, so it is totally your discretion in terms of how you envision your event. So again, you're not obligated to host a 90-minute meeting. Okay, and then here we have Zoom webinar or meeting. And I just want to briefly discuss the differences between the meeting and the webinar. The only difference is, the main difference is, in a Zoom webinar, you will not see the attendees. So there is less opportunities for audience engagement. And the way to circumvent that in the webinar feature is if we host breakout sessions to support small group discussions or activities. So if you are considering breakout sessions as part of your event, you can add the details to that at the bottom in the field that says additional information. So again, the only difference is in the Zoom webinar, we will not be able to see those who are participating in the program, whereas the Zoom meeting, you see everyone. And to create less confusion, what I've done in the past, in the last several events, is that I've pinned those who are talking is for the speakers and the moderator. So those are the only ones that we will see on the screen, and then the audience will be at the top. So if you want to go through and see who's available, you'll need to click the arrow that is on the right-hand side, the left-hand side of the of the page. So that is the difference between Zoom webinar and Zoom meeting. And for the most part, we do host Zoom meetings. In terms of recording, again, just reiterating some of the things that Jennifer had mentioned, is that the recording before we decide whether or not we want to record the session, please get the permission of the speakers first. And then we have the speakers. I'm just repeating some things that Jennifer said, which is important, is that we will need the name, the title, and the organization that the speaker represents, as well as their preferred email address and headshots and LinkedIn profile that will be used in lieu of the bios. So I think that is it in terms of the information that I will need in order to best support your event. So once you submit that form, it will come directly to me, and it'll take at least 1 or 2 business days for me to build that event and build an event and a registration page online. After that, I will send you the link to review before we start the marketing campaign. And if you have any edit requests, I can address that before it becomes public. So I think that's it. So I guess we can close it out now, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Keith. Let me get back to the slide deck real quick. We don't have much more left, folks. All righty. So the next, oh, here we go. Okay. So next is just a couple of tools. You are free. These are just tools you're free to use. You're free not to use. They are just simply guides. They're not mandates. This is a run of show. I have developed a run of show and given it to Key because it's helped her be able to navigate what's happening and when during the session. I've seen some moderators not use a run of show, and in the middle of their session, while their presenters are speaking, they're asking Key a question in front of everybody in a live session. So it just doesn't look as polished and organized. So if Key knows at 9:05 thereabout, we're going to be doing something, or 9:25, we're going to be doing something different, it helps her be able to plan and manage her time in the background. So I think we found the run the show to be an effective way to make sure we stay on point, that we're able to communicate without having to do it, in the chat during the session or live during the session. Again, it's just a tool. You can use it if you think it'll be helpful to you. Then lastly, this is just a sample opening for your session. It's introducing you, it's introducing the Phi Club, which a lot of people are still learning about. Honestly, even after 20 years of existence, a lot of people are still learning about it, which is great. And so we want to make sure that we pay homage to Gus for his hard work of starting the club and all of the volunteers before us. This has always been a volunteer-driven organizations, never had paid staff. So over 20 years, colleagues before us have been volunteering and keeping this club going. So we're standing on the shoulders of some really amazing people. So we want to definitely give the history of the Phi Club. And then lastly, we want to give our thanks to Key as well as her colleagues at Forefront, because they actually host the Phi Club. And that's the reason why nobody has to pay to attend a session, and it's barrier free to learn through the Phi Club. And there are not other organizations where our colleagues can go. And there's no barriers, there's no requirements to join anything or pay anything. So the Phi Club is definitely a niche opportunity for learning. So that's the end of the presentation. We can stop recording, Key. And I am going to stop sharing.